After disasters closing in September 2015, a new structure would rise in its place. As you enter the impressive warehouse, the queue winds through a mix of cars, detail in every corner and full of the grime of a real working garage. This incredible tribute to the movies brings you into the world of Fast and Furious. Then the ride happens, ruining it all. The Fast and Furious series has been around for over 18 years, with 8 main films and 2 more on the way, spin-offs, animated TV shows, video games, and even live shows. It is Universal's biggest franchise of all time, with the films having a combined gross of over $5 billion. It was only a matter of time until it became a feature of Universal theme parks.
Ready. Set up.
Go!
The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
In 2006, along with the release of the third movie, Tokyo Drift, the lowest grossing of the franchise by far, Universal began offering a glimpse behind the scenes on the Universal Studios Hollywood Tram Tour. The tram would enter a stunt demonstration area labeled as Stage 55 in the backlot, where you would visit Fast and Furious Extreme Close-Up. The original short-lived version would show a demonstration on how pre-visualization was used to plan stunt sequences.
And action!
After opening, the story was tweaked to be a stunt demonstration, with the attraction showing a short action sequence using robotic arms and an explosion before the cars would dance. It would be a feature of the tram tour all the way through to July 2013, when it was closed off and no longer included. Some rumours circulated that it was due to the team behind the movies objecting about the experience, which is unlikely. The real reason was that a new Fast and Furious segment was to be added. Today, that original experience still sits there walled off on the backlot.
Listen up. Ready? Ready. Steady. Go!
It's more than a movie. It's now a ride.
Let's go!
Fast and Furious Supercharged. Ride it at Universal Studios Hollywood.
In April 2014, Universal announced a new finale to its tram tour, offering a 3D HD thrill ride replacing the Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Reuniting stars from the Fast and Furious series, it would take guests into the high-stakes underground world of fast cars.
What we did here today, we have never done before. This was new territory for us. Although we've been living with these characters for 15 years, it was new territory to create something immortal like this, something as immersive as this, that all the fans of our franchise can actually live through and be a part of.
You ready, kid?
After the success of King Kong 360, Universal decided to do something similar with their most popular franchise. Fast and Furious Supercharged went into production at a large soundstage in California. Using green screens, Vin Diesel, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, and Luke Evans would film a new stunt sequence for the tram portion of the ride. Built inside a huge 65,000 square foot building with 34 4K projectors, it is the world's longest 3D projection installation ever created. Built to immerse guests in unprecedented realism on a custom-built compound curved screen and 56 speakers to provide an even more immersive surround sound experience. This experience begins when the studio tour guide spots a black 1970s Dodge Charger.
This is security. What's going on, studio tour? Yeah, there's a 1970s Charger parked right outside of Wisteria Lane, and it is unsettling. It should not be there.
Okay, Tour. I'll send someone down to check it out ASAP.
Oh, great, thank you.
The car is of interest to the FBI, who have been looking for it and its driver, Dominic Toretto.
This is our turf. Move!
My name is Special Agent Luke Hobbs of the U.S. Diplomatic Security Service, and as of 16.9 seconds ago, I'm the man in charge.
The hell you are.
Let me clue you in on two things, sweet cheeks. One, there's a high-value witness from the Federal Protection Program aboard your vehicle. And two, an international crime syndicate led by Owen Shaw is honing in on this vehicle to take that witness out.
Later in the tour, the tram enters a well-known street racer party hangout. To hide from Shaw, Hobbs has hidden you within one of these parties. Around the tram is many props from the movies, including Hobbs' assault truck.
My name is Roman Pierce. Pleased to meet you. My buddy Hobbs asked us to stash you in Shaw for a while. So we brought you in our secret spot. We're having a few friends over, it's a little messy, but it's all good, the more the merrier.
Roman Pierce and Letty Ortiz explain the events. Oh, and make sure you don't use your phone or camera flash because it will give you away. The party scene uses Musion technology, which is an updated Pepper's Ghost effect, the same technology which was first used at Disaster down in Florida. Here, the hidden scene reflecting is a rear projected screen with a black background to show the characters in the room. The rising truck scene is actually part of the set and comes up on a real lift. The characters are then seen projected onto the back of it. The party gets interrupted by the FBI and the arrival of Dominic Toretto and Hobbs.
It's gonna get ugly fast.
Yeah, don't worry. Lucky for you, our whole family will protect you.
Are you kidding me, Roman? You didn't shut off your phone, bro?
I gotta call you back. I'm in the middle of something.
Surprisingly, Shaw has found the party, and it is about to get real interesting.
Driver, move that vehicle.
Yeah, we're going.
It's about to get real interesting.
After putting on your glasses, the action chase scene plays out surrounding the tram. The tram, sitting on a 200-foot long motion-based platform, simulates the movements on the screen surrounding riders and covering them in water. This is where the experience loses many people, as rather than ultra-realistic environments that was promised, it looks like the tram is driving through a video game, with so much going on around you that it's hard to focus on one particular aspect. A mix of projection and motion-based choreography would be required to fill the U-shaped screen. A mock-up of the screen was built by Universal in Play Vista, so they could get a real sense of how the effects would look. The difficulty came that in some areas of the tram, the image would look distorted. The whole background city featured would have to be built using full CG-based on-location photos to avoid any distortion and lighting issues. The next step required the footage of actors to be recorded as they drove, jumped, and ran through the streets of LA, and to do this a hybrid approach was taken. The actors would be filmed in costume, but fully marketed and body tracked. The facial performance was then placed on a digital double. The vehicles also seen were fully CG, giving everything that video game look.
I can honestly say, in my blood, heart, soul, and bones, that this ride is exactly that, is a thrill ride.
The attraction opened on June 25, 2015. The reviews were mixed, with some people enjoying it while others hating it. For many, the CGI chase sequence was terrible and was another screen-based experience added to the tram tour. As far as the story went, it was at least consistent and somewhat made sense.
It's so cool! I just can't believe I've never in my life seen a screen that big that rides for so long.
On August 25th, just 1 month after the Hollywood version opened, it was announced that Disaster would be closing just 2 weeks later on August 7th, 2015, to make way for a Florida version of the attraction. A standalone, hopefully better version of what we had in Hollywood as part of the tram tour. What we got though would be even worse. With Disaster and Beetlejuice both closing for the new attraction, the land available for it would be huge, an area estimated at around 144,000 square feet, nearly double what the Gringotts attraction would take up. The whole Disaster show building would be demolished for a brand new experience. Announced by Universal as fusing everything you love about the films with an original storyline and incredible ride technology. Boarding a special ride vehicle, you would take off on an adrenaline-pumped ride through the underground racing world. Expectations began to rise for what a built from the ground up, Fast and Furious attraction could be. Perhaps it could be a launch coaster with cars, or even more excitingly, the area was just a little bit smaller than the area used for Radiator Springs races. Could it be a test track style ride based on Fast and Furious? No. Instead, it would just be a clone of the lukewarm Universal Studios Hollywood tram experience as a standalone attraction, just like they had done so many times before. In fact, exactly how Earthquake came to be. Before it was known what the ride was, speculation on what the ride vehicles would be was huge. What kind of car would you be sat in? Perhaps a Nissan R34 Skyline? Or a Mitsubishi Eclipse? Maybe even the 1970 Dodge Charger? Well, it turns out it will be none of these. The perfect ride vehicle for the adrenaline pumping ride through the underground racing world would be a bus. Seriously, a party bus. Located in San Francisco on the site of Disaster and Beetlejuice, you entered through a warehouse supposed to represent a garage with Dom's Charger parked outside, inspired by the historic Oriental warehouses. Inside, an impressive selection of cars set the tone of the franchise. The queue line is actually the best aspect of the whole attraction, chock full of Easter eggs from the Fast and Furious franchise. If you're not into cars, you can search for a few Easter eggs to the superior attractions that preceded it. In the garage, you could find text that this car runs on Beetlejuice, as well as a small Beetlejuice figure on top of a desk. Also found in the queue is a jacket with the Disaster Studios logo on. Finally, 2 power switches feature the dates for both Earthquake and Disaster, both switched off, while the Fast and Furious date is switched on. Many other ride Easter eggs exist within this queue line if you look for them.
Hey, Liam.
I see our partygoers have arrived.
They have. Everyone say hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mia, Dom's sister. Well, another race just wrapped, and it looks like my brother won another car for his collection.
Shocker.
Honestly, I don't know why anybody challenges him.
I wouldn't.
Next, you enter the first of 2 pre-shows featuring live actors who can make or break the experience. This is where you will be joining the family.
My brother calls this the family room. Dom says he doesn't have friends, he has family. And the faces you see on these walls are our family. When I'm in this room, I feel like we're all together again. So, welcome to our family.
The first involves Mia and Tej in an awkward screen pre-show, introducing you to, you guessed it, the family.
All right. What's up, Mia?
Hey, Tej, just welcoming these good people to our family. How are the rides coming along?
The rides are ready to roll out and roll out in style.
Wait, Transformers is down the block.
The second pre-show in the War Room continues the awkward pre-show, somewhat explaining the story. The FBI are about to raid the after-party for Dom winning another race. For some reason, the FBI are leading Shaw right to your location. Why? Who knows? What does he have to do with any of this?
Tej,
Or not.
just got a heads up from Hobbs. The FBI is about to raid your location.
FBI
Man, they always ruining our fun.
on a Friday.
It gets worse. They're leading Owen Shaw right to your door.
Wait, who?
Shaw, that cockroach we beat down in Spain.
Cucaracha.
What's he got to do with this?
Nothing yet.
The after party is the perfect diversion and Tej is instructed to keep it going. Spoiler, he doesn't because he wasn't in the original ride from Hollywood.
Okay, Jamie, you heard the man. It's about to go to a whole nother level.
Another spoiler, it doesn't. Now it's time to finally get onto your trackless party bus as you travel through the best scene in the ride, an alley. Next you pull into the same party scene using the Musion technology.
Man, Hobbs wants to talk directly to you, so I'm patching him through now.
See ya, Ludacris. Is this the third pre-show or is this the ride now? I'm honestly not sure anymore. The dialogue for the FBI agent was dubbed over from the Hollywood version and later changed there also, and then the rest of the ride is identical to the Hollywood version with a few minor changes to make it a little less LA. Yet you're still chasing through the streets of LA, even when you entered in San Francisco, showing how much they really didn't care about the ride experience fitting in, considering it was just a CGI background anyway, it could have easily been switched out. Also, don't forget there's a man the size of a helicopter.
Don't worry, I got you.
The whole ride experience lasts around 6 minutes.
Ride or die.
Yeah, ride or die. That is it. Welcome to the family. The ride opened on April 23rd, 2018 with an opening ceremony featuring Vin Diesel and stars from the movies. The Rock was not back to open his second attraction in the same location.
It's okay. I'm a park ranger.
The whole experience is cringeworthy, with no ending and no 3D as the original Hollywood version, making the visuals look even more flat and video game-like. Reviews of the attraction were overly negative, with Universal advertising it as the ultimate Fast and Furious attraction, leaving many disappointed. And for once, I'm not just talking about the enthusiast reviews, but the general consensus. Universal used a quick option to bring people to the park by marketing the Fast and Furious, but instead left many of those who came for it disappointed. One quick look at TripAdvisor or any review site confirms the dislike for this attraction, with many people suggesting this is the ride to miss. Sadly, we lost 2 enjoyable experiences for this. Let me just say before I talk a little more about this is that I'm sure some people do enjoy this attraction. Some think it's okay, and some hate it, and this is just my opinion. This attraction is just terrible. An even worse version of the short Hollywood tram section with terrible CGI, terrible acting, terrible structure and pacing, and a story that does not make any sense at all with no ending. This ride for me is the worst Universal has ever created. At least the queue is pretty good though. Sure, there are technically worse attractions at hundreds of other theme parks, but this is worse for me than the disappointment of Darren Brown's Ghost Train, and if you know me, then you know my thoughts on that. You come to expect more from Universal Orlando. Not only is there a superior version in the park next door of this, at least Reign of Kong took a segment from the Hollywood Tram Tour and expanded on it. Supercharged just literally took the Tram Tour segment and didn't add anything worthwhile other than a queue line. Not only did we lose Beetlejuice, Disaster, and a Halloween Horror Nights house, which obviously I care about the most, it took up such a large slot of prime space and wasted so much potential. The fact that this ride got approved just baffles me. But let's look at what can be done about this. It's hard to say because the purpose-built giant building has little options for modification and was constructed specifically to house this, so I can see it sitting there for quite a long time. While the ride does have a huge capacity, the line is never that long anymore and continues to decline, and I can only hope that it will be turned into another Potter experience, maybe even riding the night bus. At least that will be somewhat better. While I do encourage you to go on this at least once and experience it, I hope that the negative reaction to Fast and the Furious Supercharged really does start a new era of immersive, physical rides at Universal Orlando, and that seems to have already started with Hagrid's. Only time will tell though if this continues. Universal planned both the Hollywood and Orlando versions together, with the Orlando team spearheading the development. This ride though is such a huge waste of space and a downgrade to the attractions that preceded it.
Rule number 22. Only one person knows how to avert the disaster, but nobody ever believes him.
Ironically, the ride which replaced Disaster was in fact a disaster.
Yeah.
The movies offer blockbuster thrills and over-the-top action. When the queue line has more love, ties to the movie, and detail than the actual ride, then there is a problem, as it's hard to say who this ride is even for. It isn't for kids with its party and street racing themes. It isn't for people who enjoy rides, and it certainly is not for fans of the series, as it's not fast, and it's definitely not furious. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Expedition Universal Studios Florida. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to join the expedition. What do you think of Fast and Furious Supercharged? Let me know in the comments below. A special thank you to our Patreons for supporting the channel, and we will see you next time.
All right, let's forget about all that mess.